to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. I am your host, Dave West, codename Phantom Troublemaker.
And I am your co-host, Noel Wood, codename Crapshoot.
And I am your Cobra intern that is revving up your engine, listening to our howling roar, codename Legion Cub.
And we are about to head into the danger zone because we are going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the HasLab Skystriker. So on the Needless Things YouTube channel, which some of you are watching right now, and some of you may be listening to the audio version of this and need to go check out the Needless Things YouTube channel. I did my full unboxing and review of the Skystriker. It took over an hour, and it was completely what I like to do on the channel. It's my initial impressions. I don't do a lot of research beforehand. I want to open that box and experience it and record it. So my review, to be honest, had a little more negativity than, now I feel a little better about it than I did in that moment. So today we're getting together for two reasons. One, because I want to do kind of a follow-up to my own personal review, and two, because I got to talk to my two guys about this Skystriker, because it's a lot more fun to have a conversation than it is to have a monologue. So I'm going to stop monologuing now. And what's going on, guys?
Got a very expensive toy in front of me right now.
Yeah, we're all sitting here with our Skystrikers. Now this is available on the Needless Things YouTube channel. We're going to be doing, sort of holding it up, looking at it. But if you want close-up shots, if you want the big zoom-in review, go to the Skystriker review. This one is going to be a conversational sort of after-action report, I guess. So this is not the video to watch for like up-close details and things like that. This is for three guys who went into this with, I think, relatively different viewpoints and expectations, kind of coming together and figuring out a general consensus for the success of the HasLab Skystriker. So Christian, going into this, you were aware of other HasLabs that had happened, but this was your first HasLab.
This was, yeah. As far as Hasbro goes, this is the first. I have never heard a lot of complaints out of the other HasLabs. Like, I hear raves about the Sentinel. My friends that got Galactus absolutely love him. So I had some expectations, but not a lot of expectations, because I've never actually physically held a HasLab product in my hands.
Yeah, closest I've come was seeing like your sail barge that you've got in the Phantom Zone. That's the only time I'd actually seen one out of its box in person prior to ordering this. And
even that one, it's not like you really have gotten up close and personal with it. You've seen it on the shelf, but you didn't get in there and move Yak Face around in the kitchen, having him cooking up some Java grits or something. So yeah, I do have experience with HasLab. So we'll get to that. For you guys, well, first of all, you both got your Skystrikers before I did. Now you've had the opportunity to open it up, to put it together. Let's talk about your initial thoughts about this thing. Let's start with opening the box up. As you're opening the box, what are you feeling? What are you seeing in front of you? Do things surprise you? Do things excite you?
I think I made the comment about the odd misspelling of the word "from."
Yeah,
was the first thing I noticed when I opened the box. It says "open form side" or something like that,
which doesn't even if it said "from," it still doesn't make sense.
I think that the understanding of that is that if you're going to take a razor blade and cut this thing, it doesn't want you cutting over the top, because you may go into the actual printed Skystriker box, which is just a couple layers down. So, but I did think it was pretty cool that you open up that exterior box, you bring out the shipping box, now you have a second exterior box, slice that thing open, and the first thing I noticed is you got the handles that allow you to pull the thing out, and that was a really nice touch, because I've so many times just struggled trying to deal with getting a box out of it tightly, especially as a Lego collector. And a lot of times Lego products are shipped in boxes that just really just wrap
Super
the
snug.
edge of it. Yep. So trying to get that box out without damaging the box can be a little bit of a nightmare. So that was nice.
Well, and it's happened in my, like, some of the videos that I've made where I sit there and I'm like, like, it's very frustrating, especially when you're filming. So yeah, the handles were a very nice touch. And what was interesting to me is, and again, you know, I had seen the HasLab. I didn't watch the HasLab unboxing video. As a matter of fact, I still haven't. I just hadn't had time to do it because I wanted my impressions, not their impressions. But it was a little bit of a surprise to me that the Skystriker was in its own box, and then all of the extra stuff were in these interesting other situations.
So I did watch the HasLab unboxing, and when they showed the 2 extra boxes that form like the runway for the Skystriker, I got really excited. I love that idea. I feel like in that moment, I was like, oh, this is making packaging that isn't wasteful.
Yeah.
But then when I opened it and I saw we had this huge box for the Skystriker and not the whole Skystriker in that box, I felt like, oh, they could have gone about this a little bit differently and maybe not had so much extra waste.
Yeah, I mean, because there's plenty of room in that box to put all of the Skystriker parts that were in just plastic or paper bags outside of it. And I know that people who were buying this thing with the intention of flipping it, I'm sure they're angry because now they have to actually put all that into a much larger box.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
In order to get it all to a prospective customer. Because it would be nice, you know, if you just pull this thing out. Hey, here's my Skystriker. Set that aside. Here are the figures, and you know they're all just contained in their own separate packaging.
I would, the stand and the support vehicles in a separate box would have been
totally
made sense, been perfectly fine. But all of the actual Skystriker pieces, and this is, I've got an interesting question for you guys. So this could easily contain everything that was actually part of the Skystriker.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the chances are we see like a Hasbro Pulse or fan channel release of just the vehicle, maybe no blast effects, certainly no figures, well, Ace probably.
Yeah.
Because
no stand, no
right
vehicles.
Because let's go ahead and break down. We've talked about it on the show before, but now that we've got it in hand, we get to really kind of see it up close and personal, this price breakdown. Because this is where we're going to end, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of put a button on it right now. $229, right? That was the original HasLab price. Shipping included, by the way, which is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh wait, was shipping is included if you're premium?
Right, because I was not a premium Pulse member, so
I wasn't at the time
did
either.
pay shipping for this versus my
interesting because the sail barge was all inclusive because they didn't even have
I'm gonna say it was like
$30-something
for shipping.
Okay, so interesting
because that was one of the straws that broke the camel's back to finally get me to join.
So, but I mean, you can't really include shipping in a retail price because you have to pay shipping for anything you order online. So $229. We'll start with the figures that if you look at the pricing, current pricing for O-ring figures, $21 a piece. That breaks it down to $147 worth of figures. We're already down with that to $82 for the Skystriker, but then you've got the support vehicles that are worth at least $3. I'm gonna wait a second.
And that's on the low side. That's on the real low side because I'm thinking.
No, honestly, I'm being a jerk. I'm being a jerk about the support.
Look at those Star Wars packs that they put out.
No, I know. That's
$25 right there.
Yeah, and you're probably right. And see, I attributed 15 because I'm just so disappointed in those things. But let's say the support vehicles, let's say they're worth $15. That leaves your Skystriker at $67.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's a pretty good
Now,
price.
We're not arguing right now about whether or not the O-ring figures should cost $21 a piece. It is a fact that that's what Hasbro is charging for them. It's not debatable. So there is no doubt whatsoever that the value was in this HasLab, and they could easily charge. Well, and that's, we're also not including all the extra sticker sheets, the base. We're assuming that would be included with the Skystriker, but probably not.
If you were to sell just the Skystriker with Ace, the regular Joe decal sheet and nothing else, like just whatever came,
like standard Skystriker formula that we've gotten over the years.
Yeah, that they're gonna sell it for 125,
150
easily.
Yes, and
easily.
And it, in today's market,
that's
would
what
be
it
worth
would be
it.
worth it. Yeah.
So I would say
definitely do not feel like we got ripped off.
By the way, I just checked to make sure. This did ship for free because this was before I joined Pulse, because the next order I placed was on February 4th, and I did pay for shipping for that was the Aloe Vipers and the, and the bats. So yeah, so this did ship for free, so that's even a better value.
Good info to have. So Hasbro, I implore you, release this Skystriker. Well, here's the other portion of this. One, release this Skystriker as a separate release without all the bells and whistles. $100
retail.
Well, and here's the thing is, a lot of us, you've already got on the hook for at least one or two, because we've got these extra label sheets that we'd love to use and didn't buy multiples of the HasLab to use them on.
Yep.
I'll tell you right now, I would 100% buy at least one more of these, because I would love to. Well, we'll get into the label sheets in a minute. So
yeah,
on
if
the
you
box,
put this thing up at retail at $100, I would buy another one.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, 100, no brainer. I'd buy two more. 150, I buy at least one more, but let's go ahead and say Hasbro 100's a good price.
Yeah.
Well, and look, let's compare it to the Stinger, right? Stinger in a figure was what, 37-ish, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So 100 for a Skystriker seems totally doable.
Yeah, one action figure in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need both figures if they're going to do it. I mean, if you want to, go ahead, but so anyway, let's move on. We'll real quick, I want to look at the box, because, you know, while I appreciate beautiful packaging, I just don't care as much about it, because whatever's in it is coming out. I pointed out in my review that this is some really heinous photoshopping. Did this jump out at you guys at all?
Yeah.
Because to me, it looks like the cockpit was lifted off of the original box art, and then you have a really highly detailed, probably like Photoshop, whatever version of the jet itself. The names here look like they were straight up just put on in Fonto, as do some of the insignias and stuff. Like, look, but end of the day, I don't care, but it was just kind of humorous to me that this looks so bizarre. Like, the jet itself is really crisp, sharp, high detail lines, and then you have this blurry, weird cockpit with these two giant heads in it.
I actually had the original box. I should go pull it out and compare.
I'd be willing to say it's the same. I mean, I don't know how much trouble that would be for you. I'm sure Christian and I can keep this going if you're willing to do that.
Yeah, I just gotta move a couple things around to get to it. But...
so on the back,
go ahead.
Oh no, if you're still on the front, let's do it.
Well, this is minor, and it's going to sound silly.
Oh, we're gonna get really petty.
But what else
but
am
we're
I
also
on
gonna come
this?
back around, so it's fine.
So with Hasbro saying that, you know, for the retro style figures, because that's how they came, yada yada yada, we're still going to do the plastic. There was a part of me that felt that the two figures that Ace and the other guy, I can't think of his name at the moment, that those were just photos on the box as opposed to
art.
As opposed to the little boxes with just the clear plastic. If the retros are supposed to still use plastic and be like the originals.
Yeah, but I think this flew in
It did.
before that, so to speak.
That's why
I did not mean to use that terminology. That was purely my cornball self coming out. Yeah, I mean, because we know that these card backs were always intended to be blister cards in this
That's
way.
what I say. It's minor. It was just one of those other things that jumped out at me.
Well, I will say on the original Skystriker, there was just a photo of Ace.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was a plastic.
Okay.
Anything that had that heavier corrugated cardboard box, they did not put a window for the figure.
Yeah.
So they would have just put, if they included a figure, they would have just put a photograph of it.
Okay. So and then the back of the box, really nice line art, looks good. I like it. I'm happy with it. And then on the sides and everything too, like they stayed pretty true to the aesthetics of the original box. It feels good. It looks, design wise, looks good. But again, we're not here to judge the box. It's just part of the unboxing process. And then we get the two separate containers that fold out into that runway. Neat. So where are you guys going to display that runway?
Well, it throws a monkey wrench in my entire plan. How I was going to display this thing. It was
right now I have mine on the shelf with figures on it.
Do you?
Yeah, the Skystriker is on the stand. I still haven't had time. Like I literally just finally decided on the decals last night and put them on. So it does not have a solid home yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna store the runway. I don't have space for it. I have cleared a space for actually it's just above it's right there. It's going on that shelf there at the top of where my classified stuff is, just the Skystriker on the stand. But I thought it was neat. It's cool. It's again, we talk a lot about how the toy companies are very much aware of figure photography at this point. And that's definitely one of those things you want to throw in to have a nice little diorama backdrop or ground drop, as it were. Just a neat extra. I dug it. Now, the way everything was packed in there, all of my figures, save one, and it had nothing to do with the way they were packed. All my figures were fine. How are you guys condition-wise?
I had no damage. All my bubbles were very securely attached.
So I opened... Okay, so Scarlett has a little bit of the white. Did either one of you have any of the white speckling on it that almost is like water damage? So my Scarlett has just a little tiny tad of it. Not bad at all. Ace is great. Man, that card art just looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Failsafe looks good. But then the three figures that I was debating getting rid of, and then I realized I can't get rid of GI Joe stuff. That's dumb. Why would I even think of that?
Yeah, if I bought two, it might be different, but
I can't.
What this is going to return for me is not going to be worth not having it in my collection.
Right, exactly. And that's what I don't have any attachment. Oh, which by the way, apparently one of the problems was some people's Cobra Commanders had two right arms. Did you guys see this?
I've heard that. I've not looked close enough at mine yet.
Mine is great, is perfect. The card is perfect. I'm going to put this in a star case, which anybody listening, if you're wondering, I use star cases. I order them off Amazon by the bundle of 25, and they're anywhere from $75 to $85 depending on the market at the time. But to me, they're the best cases for these and reactions. I think Ripcord is incredible. That art is wonderful. I love that they used the different background effect on him. I love the Night Force at the top. He looks so great on the card. This is one I kind of want to just keep to display on the card. And when, whenever they get around to doing a Ripcord as a single release, I'll get that one and open it up.
If we deep dive into the figures, Ripcord was one I actually had to go on to Yo Joe and 3D Joe's to look up the original, because I never had him as a kid. And
oh, wow.
I was not happy with his figure.
This one or the original?
I never had the original, and so I opened him up and I was all excited. And there's some things, and I think this with the Sky Striker as well. With the advancements in toy technology, or rather like the safety concerns or whatever, by going back and reusing some of the molds, there's just not the detail in the figures. And I was convinced that that helmet was the wrong helmet. But
Does it
looking
not
at
fit
the
very
original
well?
figures, no, it is. There's no polite way to put it. Like, it is this huge, so thick and oversized.
Oh,
It
interesting.
makes his head look like a space ball. But when I look at the original figure, that's the original helmet. But when you compare him to the other figures, who's, any other Joe in the line that had that, thin helmet, you're like, whoa, that just looks oddball.
The only issue with mine is that he's in a weird way in the package. It probably won't be picked up here, but it looks like he's got a beer gut because of the way his
Mine's the same way.
Yeah,
mine's the same way.
His belly's, and the other
He's
ones
like
aren't like that.
sticking out. It's weird. Well, and the other thing I'm just now noticing on mine, my Cobra Commander, the bubble is pretty pristine, but my ripcord bubble is like really scratched up.
In fact, I
Like
don't know if you
like
can
scuffed.
if you can see it.
Oh, there he is.
But that's
That looks right to me.
you see,
That's
but I
that's
never
what he
had
looks
him as a
like.
kid. So when you put him next to the other Joes, it's just this big helmet.
Right.
Yeah, mine's back right behind me. I can grab him if I need to. Compare.
And then Ramp Rat, I just don't know that I love him that much. I would rather have ketchup and mustard. Like the Joe Ground Crew would have been way better. And my Ramp Rat, the bubble.
Oh no.
Well, and it didn't even lift off. It just was never even attached. You can see there's not even glue there. And it's funny because I don't particularly want to open this one, but now it's like, well, I might as well. But I mean, he's fine. There's nothing wrong with the figure. I just don't.
I was contemplating opening him just to get the
flight deals,
the
sticks or whatever.
So far, him and Cobra Commander are the only two I didn't open.
Yeah, well, here's another reason why I realized I couldn't possibly get rid of Night Force Ripcord is if O-Ring is to continue, when O-Ring continues, when the Retroverse continues, and they start doing more Night Force figures, I would be so freaking angry at myself if I had gotten rid of that Ripcord.
Yeah.
So I got to keep him. Rest of the figures, I opened everything up. I'm going to keep the cards. But let's take a look at Failsafe, who he's good. I like him. I mean, there's not much to say about him. He kind of just looks like a generic pilot guy.
Yeah. He looks like he could be like a core figure or something.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But as far as just being kind of support co-pilot type fella, he works. Would I rather have had Airborne? Absolutely. But he has a place in the history of Joe. He was on the original box art.
I'm actually happy to have a new character rather than getting an Airborne. I've got my original Airborne, and
sure.
And Airborne's one they could eventually do in a 2-pack or single carded if they are continuing with the O-Ring figures. So yeah, this is a nice throw in for an exclusive set like this.
Well, and that's the thing is I mean, he's essentially just an extra figure, so he's great.
And he was, I think he was in the very first group of unlocks.
I think he was included, wasn't he?
Was he?
I don't know. I don't remember.
It seems so long ago.
I thought he was
really
just included, but
I guess this is the only one that I noticed any damage, and I can't tell if this is just sticker bit or if there's almost like a melted line on this failsafe figure. But I mean, it's not a huge deal. It's not a deal breaker.
Our Cobra Trooper, based more on the Sunbow look of the Cobra Troopers. He's just got more detail than the regular release. He's great. He does not have gloves, or he does not have blue hands, because let's face it, it kind of doesn't look like gloves on the other one. It looks like he's just wearing a big like onesie type situation.
And the other O-Ring that was released recently does have black gloves, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's blue.
Is it blue on the new one
Yeah.
too? Okay.
Yeah, the new Cobra Trooper is just blue gloves because they went with just the original design.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe it's just because the officer has the black gloves.
And the only reason I know that is because I did a side by side in the video.
Oh.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have been too sure. Like I knew he had gloves, but I wouldn't have realized they were the blue onesie gloves.
I guess there is a little damage to the side of this card too, but
yeah, I got lucky on that front. A lot of people have pretty severe dings and dents in the sides that didn't seem to be from shipping. Seemed to be something that probably happened before they were even packed.
Yeah, I would think it would be on more than one if it was in shipping.
Scarlett, before we get to the most hilarious clownery of this entire thing, I love this figure. I wish she had red hair, but other than that, and really to me, that's just going to make it not Scarlett. She's just, a pilot.
Yeah.
But the way the helmet works, they've actually re-engineered the helmet to where you put the chin piece in first and push down on the back, and it stays in really securely. And I mean, the original Ace helmet is still pretty good. Like it stays on, but this works a little bit better. Crystal clear faceplate, looks fantastic. I like the blue coloring, and the fact that they just put her head on an Ace body is fine by me. I have no problem with that at all. I don't need anatomy poking through a flight suit in an unrealistic manner.
When we were reviewing the episode with Raven, the Strato Viper, and we talked about it would have been fine just to put a female head on that Strato Viper body because when you're in a flight suit, you're pretty gender neutral.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think this figure looks great. However, the crossbow that is included that has no grip. How does that even happen?
They didn't include the handle.
There is
no, and it's a manufacturing thing because when you look at it,
there's nothing.
It's just
smooth.
A solid plastic. It's not like
it's smooth like a Ken doll.
Yeah,
mine.
How did that make it through QC?
Where mine looks like it has a bump.
It's upside down because when you look where that bump is, the where is it? For the arrow,
the sight is on the inside.
Yeah. So for the arrow to be on top of the crossbow, that's where that bump and the sight is.
Right.
So the underneath is actually just a solid, smooth piece of plastic.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. But again, since this isn't going to be Scarlett anyway, doesn't matter. And I'm noticing now.
This matters to me. This is a QC. How does?
Oh yeah.
How does
it's totally unacceptable and insane. But in the reality of Dave's world, the Phantom Zone, I don't care. But yes, it's ridiculously unacceptable. But I don't care.
These are the sort of things that when I think about what else can happen in the line, that just makes me nervous. These are the reversed shoulders on the MOT,
right.
On Motu figures where they just say, "Oh, we're so busy, we overlooked it."
You also notice that she has a pistol in her artwork, and there is no pistol.
Yeah.
So I think that I don't know if it's just an afterthought.
Well,
They're like, well, she's Scarlett, she's got to have her crossbow.
Well, it's literally. Hang on. Oh no, it's not. I was wondering if it was just Ace's artwork with her head on it, but you're right. It's completely different, and they gave her a pistol.
Yeah.
Wacky. All right. I was going somewhere. I don't know. All right. So yeah, the great figure, bad accessory, bad likeness, to be honest.
I mean, the likeness is close enough to the original.
Well, the portrait's
Scarlett
great,
figure.
but the hair is a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's move on to.
Oh, I did not notice that before. Oh, never mind. I was just looking at mine and I was like, wait, she has actually a blue blob of paint on her forehead, but nope, it was just a fleck of dried paint.
Okay. Ace Looks great. Colors look nice. He's that nice kind of off-white of the original Ace figure. The reds and the grays and everything are nice and crisp. It was interesting though that they changed the gray on his, I guess, trunks area. Because it's a darker gray on that original figure, but still looks good. It makes it pop a little bit more to me, so I'm okay with that kind of change. Face looks good. He's great. He comes with a pistol, same pistol that comes with failsafe. Failsafe, I think it was a nice addition.
Mhm.
So very, very happy with the figures I opened, and happy with the 3 I didn't open because great. We got a great value. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. Problems on my Ace and my Scarlett is the rivet in the right elbow is not completely secured. So there is a big gap. You're probably not going to be able to see it here. Let's see. Yeah, you can't really see it, but there is a big gap in the right elbow on both of my flight suit figures. But fortunately, one of the HISS tank users put it out there that if you take a very small nail head and put it against a flat surface and just give it ever so carefully, give it a little tappy tap, that it'll pop it right into place and you'll be good to go. So since I've got it out here, have you guys tested the parachutes?
No, I watched you test it on your review. I've seen other people, and I'm satisfied.
But it's so much fun.
I know, but
it's great. I
remember the nightmare as a kid of not being able to get those things wrapped back up the same way to fit behind the chair. So
I think it'll be okay. I have not yet attempted to get it back in there. But I think it'll be okay. It's a really nice, thin material that folds really, really well. So I think putting it back in there is going to be fine. But honestly, I might just try and rig this like sort of hanging from the ceiling beside the Skystriker or something. I don't know. I really like the look of this. This is a lot of fun. And it's reminiscent of when you used to go to the old Joe Lanta conventions and they would have the lobby drop. Not that I would drop this from the 20th floor of a hotel anywhere. As effective as the parachute is, I still don't want to.
Or the official G.I. Joe conventions where they would throw off the exclusive figures from the
right.
Yeah, from the roof of the building.
All right. Well, you had Ramp Rat a second ago, Noel. What were you gonna point something out about that fella?
No, I was just looking at the figure again.
Yeah, mine. This actually isn't. I thought this card was in worse shape on this one. The card is beautiful on mine. It's just that bubble not even glued down.
Yeah, I like the concept of this figure. But yeah, it's something that just doesn't 100% work in the way it's being presented.
I wonder if I can. Let me try something.
He's got the exact same lower body as Failsafe.
Yeah. Which is fine. That's not. That's classic
no
G.I. Joe. Let me see if I can slide him out of this bubble without pulling the bubble any more off than it is. Yeah, look at that. Boop. Still as mint as the day I got it. He comes with a mortar, which I thought was a bizarre choice. What is up with Hasbro's desire to give random Cobras mortars?
Well, I guess it's just a mold that they are able to put out as much as they want. So
something they had sitting around.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather him have just come with another pistol.
It's like that green bazooka. They just love to throw it in.
Right. Well, and that thing, the first time that came with a Cobra, like that, I think it was the Bazooka Trooper might have come with that one, 25th anniversary. I don't know. Anyway, first time that came with a Cobra, that was kind of a novelty.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this mortar, I'm not quite Snake Men staff sick of it yet. But I have that's for our Masters of the Universe collectors out there.
I do notice too, going back to our discussion.
I mean, a mortar's useful at least. It can,
it's true. Yeah.
On the Cobra Trooper we just had recently, the helmet is kind of like the Swiss Army style helmet with the flare.
Yeah.
And the artwork again. Even though, of course, the helmet is the one that we all know and love from the original figure. So,
You know what? I kind of like this guy. Like, because in the cartoons and stuff, we always had just sort of random Cobra goons doing job. Like, this is a guy who would have been in the cartoon.
Yeah.
100%. With his little green sticks. You know what? I'm glad I opened him up. He's good. I like him. I wish he had a friend.
He makes me want a duplicate so I can have a Cobra Skystriker.
Right. Listen up, Hasbro. $100 Skystrikers for everybody. Okay. So that's
you
the
could even
figure
eliminate
rundown.
Ace.
Well, yeah, honestly, you could, because I would just put my reaction Duke in there. So let's talk about, Christian, you had some observations about these instructions. Let's get into that.
Yeah, so it's not quite as bad as my first initial thoughts. I thought that the sheet with the how to put the Skystriker together and then the support vehicles was the only new sheet. But they do have the support vehicles on the sticker sheet / blueprints. But I feel like the blueprints and the sticker sheet, this is not this Skystriker. This is old Skystriker artwork that they have just added some of the extra elements to, because when you look, the old Skystriker had the one, I mean, as a kid, I always said it was like the gun piece, the one weird bump on the nose cone, which this one doesn't. It's smooth. So when you look at this, the decal sheet, you see that it is included in there, and they don't include the side guns. They include the side guns on the blueprint side. And for someone who has very much so ADHD when it comes to these sort of things, it was what few decals I put on, it was driving me crazy because not everything lines up the way.
That's been the case though with every one of these reissue vehicles.
Right.
And I think that's it. As I was explaining earlier, I only ever had the 1983 Skystriker. I never, and by the time the 25th and all that came out, my Skystriker was a shell.
Have either one of you got the instruction, the blueprints handy?
For the original?
No, for the new one.
For the new one,
yeah,
yes, I have mine.
Okay, right here.
Hold that as close to your camera as you can. Okay, right there. Stop right there. I want to point something out. So I have right here the 25th anniversary Skystriker that I cut down. It's hanging from my ceiling. I took it down just for this review. Fortunately, I was able to leave the fishing line intact so I can just hang it back up. If you'll notice on those blueprints, first of all, it's a single seater. And this business right here, these two yellow pieces right here are on those blueprints. So Christian, you are correct. That is a modern Skystriker, a 25th Skystriker on those blueprints. You can put that down now. That was the one thing that jumped out at me, is that I realized that's depicting this single seater cockpit.
That's why when you mentioned the artwork on the box, I mean, I noticed what you were talking about with the box when you mentioned it in your review, but my brain was going, there is so much Photoshop shenanigans going on with all of the artwork involved in this. Again, it's not bad.
Right.
It's not like it is affecting my enjoyment of it. It's just something that I noticed, like, oh wow, why, if you're gonna go ahead and create these new pieces for the support vehicles, why not make everything match to the new one?
We'll bring this back out in a minute when we're actually looking at the Skystriker. That caught my eye and confirmed what you were saying. So I thought that was interesting. Okay. So I think we're pretty much done with looking at the blueprints. Are we ready
Well, the first thing I noticed was that they're telling you to do a bunch of steps on here that were already done. The canopy was already assembled. These panels were already assembled. So yeah, thought that was interesting. That I guess they didn't realize they were going to be packaging it with these engine doors. The canopy, I guess it's good to have in there since they do have the alternate canopy, because presumably just because there's different stickers that you can put on the canopy.
You guys help me out here, because I've got my readers on and I don't know if they're giving me the true view. But in those diagrams you were just talking about, Noel, isn't that a single-seater cockpit as well? Because look, you can see the yoke further back than it is in this one. And you can see at the rear of the cockpit the same kind of setup that we were just looking at in the modern one. It's the same thing on this one. This is just the modern. I wonder, I don't think I've got these anymore, and I'm certainly not going to go look for them right now. Very interesting. And again, whatever, it doesn't matter.
No.
But
if they're recycling art for things like that, that's not a big deal.
Right. Who cares?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready to look at the Skystriker itself, the star of the show, our sweet baby Tomcat? Well, close, man. It feels, having just held the 25th anniversary one, this one feels so much nicer. Noel, you've got the original Skystriker.
Yeah, this is the 83 Skystriker right here.
What is your feel comparison as far as the plastic and the heft of it?
So I'm gonna take it off the base here because I've still got my other one on the base. Sorry, that's not noise. So it goes on the base very snugly, and it's not easy to get back off.
Which is, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because it holds into place.
Because I've got some Starship Enterprise or various Star Trek ships that the base does not necessarily work the best with them. So I was relieved that this one is snug and stays put, and has a wide enough base on the base so that you can pose this however you want, and it's not going to like fall over.
So they feel like weight-wise, they're very similar. I do like this new plastic. It's a little softer, a little bit smoother, but it feels like this is probably going to not get brittle over time. My original Skystriker is still in fantastic shape, so no arguments with that. No complaints about it right there. It took me a while to figure out. The first thing I noticed is like there's only 4 missile pegs on this.
Right, yeah.
But then it took me a while to figure out that these 2 spots right here, you can actually add the missile.
Which I love the doubled up one.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really nice touch. That's the one I ended up using. Because
missiles do not stay on the new one nearly as well as they do on the original one, though.
Well, they stay on it much better than they do on the 25th.
Oh, that's good. That's
really good. So I have heard that in a lot of the reviews that I've listened to, and so far with mine, they are snug.
Yeah, mine's good too. I'm not having any issues with it. A matter of fact, the 25th one, we'll do a little side by side here. I had to take them off of my 25th one because every time I touched it, one of them would fall off. So I just, for the purposes of this review, I just took them off. So let's see if I can hold 2 Skystrikers up at the same time. That's a challenge I didn't necessarily think I would have. I mean, I've got 2 modern ones, but you can see the color difference. I always liked the gray on the 25th one. I think it looks really sharp. And then the black tail fins, which were the only option on this one, but you probably can't really tell in the video too well. But the new one, the HasLab one, is a much sturdier, glossier plastic.
Yeah.
Otherwise, though, these do share a lot of the same aesthetics. The biggest one for me, and my first really big source of disappointment, is the wing assembly.
Which is not even necessary, because the box is big enough to hold this without having to assemble the wing.
Yeah,
well, and it's not even just about the assembly, because if you look, this is the 25th anniversary one. and you can see these unsightly screws and the way that the wings plug in there in the same way that the HasLab one does. My disappointment, well, so there's your look at the 25th anniversary one and the way that it functions. Well, actually, you know what? Since we can do this, Christian, if you got your HasLab right there,
I do.
just hold that up and hold it up and turn it around and we can do that side by side. Put those wings out. You can see
here
basically the same construction. Which disappointed me because one of the things that I never particularly cared for about this version was this hollow wing construction.
That was one of the first things I noticed, and I was trying to remember from the original one. I was like, I don't recall.
Noel, you've got the original. Show us that underside.
The original does have a bit of a. I mean, it has these veins.
It's the same way,
but it doesn't have the screws.
Right. It's the wings are one solid piece. And you know, honestly, I feel like these wings should have been like real wings, and certainly should not have had that visible hardware. And that's where my previous HasLabs kind of came into play, is the sail barge and the Razor Crest don't have anything like that. They are more like scale replicas. I mean, you can play with them. They're sturdy, they're solid, they're toys, but visually, there is nothing in their construction that gives away that they're a toy. And that was my disappointment with this, is seeing those screws, seeing how the sausage is made. I don't want to see that on a HasLab. That was a problem for me initially. How did you guys feel about it? Did you think anything of it?
I thought the box is big enough. Why is and again, having not played with the 25th or 50th anniversary ones, was like, why is the wing not a solid piece?
And I still wonder that.
And that's also where I took it into account, just the changes in the toy industry, the much softer plastic that the wing is made of compared to what I remember from the original one.
Is it? It is. It feels like more bendy. Noel, you got
definitely a softer plastic.
Okay.
All the new vehicles have that much more pliable plastic. The Stinger, the Striker, the Fang, they're all.
But this doesn't feel anything like the Stinger to me. Or the wings don't.
It's not as bad as the Stinger, not at all, but it is a softer.
And like, if this
fell off the shelf, God forbid, it's going to survive, whereas
it's not
the
going to
original
shatter.
Skystriker,
right. I did sort of take issue with the fact that if you look, the gloss on the tail fins does not match the rest of the jet.
Well, don't care, because I'm using the black ones because I've always wanted to be able to have a.
Well, no, even the side fins, it doesn't match.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And it's not terrible. It's not really a big deal, but I mean, they could have. I feel like that could have been fixed, because the engine cover panels match. So why couldn't those pieces? But it's not really a big deal, and especially like you said, if you're using the black fins, which the only reason I'm not is because I've got the 25th that has the black tail fins, and I just think this looks really slick. I like it. All right. What next? What do you guys want to?
I actually had a question, because not having the 25th, is the wing assembly and the landing gear two independent pieces on the 25th?
No, it's just like the original. It's one.
That's a very welcome improvement.
That's honestly the biggest improvement in my opinion, because it's ridiculous, because that's the 25th, that same thing where landing gear and wings are connected. So yeah, that was not fixed on this one. And it was, at the time, it drove me nuts that it wasn't. I was like, come on.
I actually thought there was something wrong, because the first thing I did was I went to put the wings on, went to extend them and the landing gear didn't pop out. I was like, what? It took me a second to realize that there was a second, and it's actually a very well hidden, the tow cable in the back. That's a very nice way to do that. To have that be the piece that activates the and I guess I've heard that there's been some QC issues with the landing gear. Mine are super perfect.
Yeah, I've heard that people have had a hard time, like they don't stay up.
Well, here's the problem with mine. The panel extends down below the wheel when it is sitting on a surface, and if you push this forward, it collapses the landing gear. It does not. It's not quite designed quite right. So yeah, when this is on any kind of flat surface, because the wheel pushes up just a little bit when it's carrying the weight of the plane, this is actually close enough to the surface it's sitting on to where when you try to roll it forward, it just closes the wheel. Not great. But if it's just sitting there, it is fine. And I think some people have had an issue where when they push the landing gear closed, the front one doesn't go flush, but mine does. Mine's fine. Even when it's like this. Well, no, I take that back. So it does hang out a little bit. Get a little bit of hang there. But it's I mean, it shouldn't. Yeah, actually, it really shouldn't. I can't defend that.
The only thing I notice is that you can't put the large missiles up front.
Right. Well, I wouldn't anyway.
I wouldn't anyway, but I was just playing around with it, and I realized that they interfere with the landing gear.
Yeah. But that's okay. I mean, those smaller ones I think should be up there.
Yeah.
So
Christian,
what actually had pointed when we were talking about the blueprints, you pointed out one of the questions that I initially had when I was asking in our chat about it. Does somebody have, the 25th anniversary ones?
Right.
Because when I watched the review with Emily and Lenny, I know I always say his name. I get tongue tied. Anyway, I love the control stick.
The Ace of Joes.
I love the control stick added to the jet as opposed to just, I don't know. That's a little detail. Yeah. I love the panels on the back of the seat that help hide the parachute.
Yes.
And
it works very well too.
Yeah.
Like these snap shut very securely. The seat is solid. Like when I did my parachute test, like I wasn't worried about this even though it was hitting a carpeted floor. I wasn't worried about it like breaking. Very well designed, I think.
I just the only seat gripe I have is the peg. I feel like needs to be a little bit higher on this seat, because at least with mine, the figures there's the waist piece has to come forward so much. I feel like it's putting stress on the O-ring that it doesn't need to. But again, that's
fair because they don't. Yeah, you're right. That peg should be like a 1/4 inch higher, really.
Yeah.
You're right. I hadn't really noticed that. I'm attempting to manhandle the chute back into the chair, although I'm wondering.
Because honestly, I've not been able to get the co-pilot, whichever figure I've put in there. I've not been able to get them pegged and get that seat pegged in. It's like it just forces their legs into a weird position. So they just kind of have to sit.
Okay, so check this out. The way the seat is designed, you don't have to get the parachute sitting there and snap the seat back on. It just slides right back up in there.
Oh.
It slides right in and out. Like you don't.
Cool.
Yeah, you don't have to like get this all tied up and then manage to clip the back of the seat into place. It just goes boop right in there. That's beautiful. Fantastic design. This, as much as there've been a couple of little nitpicks, this right here is made by a toy fan who understands toys and has like suffered our frustrations over the years. This is good engineering right here.
This is also
this however, of Ace's waist like not sitting right.
Yeah.
That is not good engineering.
No.
I do prefer the new cockpit that's a separate piece versus the old one that this is all just one.
Oh yeah. Let me see if I can get, I haven't even, and this is a failing on my part, but my gosh, my review went on long enough anyway. Let me see if I can get my co-pilot in here. And because you're not the first person who has said it's a problem. Oh, you know what? Is that parachute what's in the way?
Is it?
Because I didn't put mine in exactly, but his feet should go up under there. And right now my parachute is kind of hanging down. Let's see. While I'm trying this, what else, what other thoughts do you guys have about this construction, about the execution? Because we're definitely coming in on
so the removable panels so that you can do repair work. I love that they did some separate plastic pieces to actually give it some two-color depth as opposed to what I remember from the original one.
Yeah, it's nice because I mean I really love that they did so much detail with that with the removable panels back in the day. But usually it was just the same main color. Yeah, having the two shades in there is really, really nice.
Is he in? Right? Okay. I didn't. There he is. He's in.
I
didn't really have any trouble. I bent his knees and kind of, oh, wait a minute. Oh, his chair is not actually. Oh. I thought I had him in, but I just kind of had his chair shoved in back here. Interesting. Okay, go ahead, Noel. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I just it's these little added pieces here. We have this little gun up in the front that wasn't on the original, and then this piece right here.
Yeah, what the heck is that thing?
Which I'm not sure what that's supposed to be.
I thought you'd have an answer for us.
No, yeah, I was curious. This of course also lifts up, which the original did not do.
Yep. I thought that was a nice
touch. Dude, yeah, he's not. There's no way he's fitting in here. Like, not even close.
That's why I snapped the seat in and then I just sit him in on it.
Well, if you push the seat back and don't affix it to the peg, he fits. But there's no way he's fitting in here. And again, if the peg was higher up on the chair and he fit more naturally like he's supposed to,
yeah, I don't think it'd be a problem.
Okay, wait, I've got him pegged. See, that's just what I had before, but it looks fine. Like the chair's angled back just a little bit, but it's in there securely. And the cockpit closes, so that's what I'm doing. It's not quite right, but I mean, it works. Interesting. And
have
really,
either one of you attached your ladder yet?
Yes. I thought it worked perfectly. Yeah, it works great.
Cool.
It's a little difficult to get the panel off the first time, and I'm certainly concerned about over time that tampo right here where you have to take your fingernail and flip that tab down to get that panel off. I'm concerned about that getting worn off. But yeah, the ladder clips perfectly onto that little cable type thing and sits almost flush with the surface So it works really nicely.
Cool. Good. Yeah, I struggled to get that panel off, so I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna
It's
mess
tough
with
the
this.
first time for sure. Okay. So we've got the removable engine panels that, there's a little paint in there. It's not maybe the most exciting reveal ever, but it is. Whoops.
Yeah. There it is.
There we go.
Almost lost my tiny little panel.
It is a place to put their pistols. Because
Oh,
when I was a kid, I 100% would have stored weapons in those engine panels. Let's talk about these blast effects. How do you guys feel about these?
In all of the lead up videos for it, I was indifferent towards them. I thought, yay for the people who are excited for them, but it's looking at it on the computer, it's not doing much for me. Having it in hand, the gunfire for the front of the Skystriker and the engine blasts, I love.
Well,
Yeah,
and
like,
dude,
I love
look at
this.
that.
Yeah.
That just looks awesome.
Yeah.
It's so much better in person than how it reads on camera.
I agree. Getting your hands on it. And also anything that's like fidgety, fun interactivity with a toy is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Hand candy? Is that the term people use? But I mean, it is. And then you've got the ejection seat blasts, which not only plug into the bottom of the seat, but plug into where the seat goes into the cockpit. Like these are great. I love them.
Mm-hmm.
They're fantastic. That we already talked about. I think we covered the base pretty well. It's got this great ball joint with the collar that tightens it up in the position you want. It's pretty fantastic. It's nice and wide and sturdy. So whatever surface you put it on, it.
And again, this is just a weird thing that I noticed, but does this peg bother you guys as well by the fact that when you put a missile on it, it sticks so much further out?
Well, yeah, so it's not, I don't know why they didn't do symmetry. So this is one side and here's the other. And,
whoa, I didn't even notice that.
Because I thought, was mine made wrong? And then all the ones I looked at online, I was like, nope.
Oh, that's bizarre.
It doesn't make any sense.
And once you see it.
That's 33 cents worth of plastic that they could have invested in just to have this not be a giant open
just to have it
piece.
A cover. Yeah, you're probably right. Not even 33 cents. Well, I think the idea with this was it looks like the missiles dropping off and launching. So they wanted to give it some like
I'll buy
a look.
That.
And you know what? Honestly, I'm
it's
fine.
I want it to be.
You want it to be symmetrical. I get it.
Symmetrical.
Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made either way. But if they had made it symmetrical, nobody would have complained about it.
Yeah.
So that would have been.
I thought of it as this is storage for the extra missile. So I was matching, left and right
and
on the side, and then I was like, oh wait, no, this isn't visually.
I get it.
I need my Wes Anderson symmetry here. Come on, guys.
But it does fit, like you guys said, it does fit on there securely. I've no worries of it toppling over without outside interference.
Yeah. I leaned it over as far as I could, and it stays up there. I don't feel like the jet's about to crash.
So have you guys stickered yours up yet? I have not. I just haven't had the time to devote to this kind of pristine operation.
Yeah, I just have too much anxiety about it. First of all, it's choosing which set of stickers.
Right.
And then especially with like these guys right here, there is no way I'm getting that thing on without a bubble.
Well, let me tell you.
Not going to happen.
Christian, do you know the magic trick?
I mean, we used to apply window decals for events at work, so I have my own little weird method
Well, here is something that somebody on his tank, and I apologize for not, I put it in my notes, and for some reason I did not put the user ID on there. But somebody on his tank said, here's what you do. You take this off and put the barest minimum of the edge of it on a ruler. And then take the ruler and place it using that rather than trying to do this number.
Mm-hmm.
So that way it stays straight, stays flush. And then when you carefully, you might even want to have somebody help you with this, but take that ruler, put it down where you want it, and then smooth it.
Yeah.
And roll the ruler up and away, and it's on. So it was good advice. But
I line mine up at one end and start, and I follow along the edge, but I use something. I don't have a ruler, but I do have a set of tweezers that I use for decals.
Yeah.
And
always
I use that to flatten as I go along. But I was Natalie Imbruglia about the decals, like as soon as I got it. And last night I finally had the epiphany. For me, this is about replacing my 1983 Skystriker.
Right.
So I ended up, that's why I went with the gray tail wings, and I just went with the basic Joe look. But to your point, I already started looking at eBay, like if I can piece together another Skystriker to throw some of the other decals on, I'd do it.
I'm seriously considering putting the Cobra stickers on my 50th anniversary, the gray and
black
red
one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about it, but I don't know. All right. Support vehicles. Let's talk about these little hunks of junk. They're and look, I'm gonna be mean. There's just no way around it. But I'll say again, at the end of the day, I'm very happy with this HasLab. It's a great toy. I am delighted. But these are almost insulting. With the lack of deco, the lack of even different colors of plastic, the gas nozzle just hangs off of there.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to even like hook it to.
That didn't bother me as much as no matter how much you unspool it to wrap it back up tight, it does not stay on that spool tight. So when you go to pull it out, it catches and it just over time, this is going to break.
Right.
If you actually use it. And I think that is a QC issue that absolutely should have been caught the first time they had it in their hands.
Well, and this is rubber too, so this is going to be cracked and
yeah.
I hate the pegs on the wheels.
Oh, that didn't.
I just think it looks terrible.
Yeah, they definitely cut some corners.
I don't understand. I do appreciate the interchangeable pieces for this unit. I like that it's got the missile rack and just the engine cover. I don't know why you would ever use just the engine cover and not have the awesome missile rack here, but whatever.
Especially when you still have to store the rest of these missiles
Right.
somewhere.
I don't totally understand why there's a hinge here. That doesn't make any sense. But I mean, it doesn't hurt anything, but it's just odd.
And I mean, it's a play feature.
Right. Well, right. You're right.
I mean, that's pretty much
play
it.
Feature. You're correct.
You can put it up when it's not hauling the tanker here.
I appreciate that the missile rack has a little spot to hang the ladder. You can put different combinations of the missiles on here. Seems to work okay. And they've got these slots right here. It seems like something would go there, but I don't know what.
The slots. Will they not hold the fuel? No, I guess it's not big enough for the fuel canister.
Yeah, they don't hold the fuel tanks.
Well, and the smaller fuel tanks, I thought that's what these are, right?
Yeah, that's, and I have
Like
those
they
on
don't
the
even
missile
have
rack.
slots. Yeah, because I thought,
Yeah, because I've just got
Yeah.
those on there. Because to me, this is for fueling the device more than
Oh,
anything
yeah,
else.
yeah. Yeah, so these were, although that space form's kind of giant, but whatever. Yeah, and then these bigger ones can go on the base. That's better. I like that more. So yeah, I mean, look, toy wise, these are neat. Execution wise, I'm just a little disappointed.
I think I haven't put stickers on them. This will probably be the first thing I do with the stickers because I'm not as concerned with the way these look. But I think they'll look a lot better once they've got some deco on them.
And you're right, they will.
These were the first things that I put decals on. Actually, when I opened it, they do make a difference
because you're like, oh my gosh, these need something on them.
Yeah.
No, that looks really good.
That's already better.
But I might also do some painting of some of the the pieces because it needs some pop.
Yeah,
and it's got this will hold paint pretty well because it's that kind of like matte finish.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, I think is that pretty much everything. Have we got anything else to? Oh, well, we didn't really talk about the tampos on the Skystriker itself. I love that if you don't want to put anything else on it, it still has the base decoration that looks fantastic. But did you notice that the one around the cockpit
has a broken line?
Yeah.
Because that's how the original Skystriker was, because the sticker didn't work right. So rather than fixing it, they reproduced that error.
Well, so I'm an idiot because I thought they did that on purpose because you do have some decals to replace these. And I thought they still left it broken so that people have a guideline to go by because those were some of the worst stickers ever.
Right.
So my only thing is they tampoed, the basics on it, but there's a giant G.I. Joe logo on the side. So if you're going to do this motif, you're going to do this deco, you're stuck with a giant G.I. Joe logo, unless there's something here that is that's able to cover that, but I don't think there is.
There isn't, from what I've seen people issuing a complaint about. However, if you remember, the hype story is that Cobra has seized this Skystriker. So
they're just taunting them by leaving the G.I. Joe logo on there.
Right.
Are you supposed to put... Oh my gosh. Are you supposed to put this no on top of the Joe?
G.I.
No.
I mean, what else is that no for?
There's our next Audible Interlude shirt.
Well, is it on the...
No. Well, we had G.I. Joe or no, and you guys voted Sergeant Slaughter out because you're terrible human beings.
Well, I did notice too that the sticker arrangement here is also not complete.
No.
They just assume that you know where some of these things go, like those giant red, white, and blue stripes for the wings.
Right.
They're not listed on here. But yeah, so all those different Cobra options, that you just place them wherever you want to, I guess. There's not a guideline.
Yeah. 3D Joes and Yojo.com were my friends last night.
Okay, you know what? Do you know why I think those red, white, and blue stickers are on a separate sheet and why they're not on this sheet? Because I believe they came on this. I didn't put these on because they're way too straight. So I think, because this is the 25th anniversary one again, I think these were already on this version. So when they reproduced the label sheets and the instruction sheets, that's why these are separate and why they're not on here.
And also, okay, so so on the colored ones, those are solid pieces, right? There is no break in the sticker. With the red, white, and blue, it's actually two pieces.
Yeah.
So
the Cobra one's also two pieces too.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
And this is interesting. I just kind of noticed that this isn't red, white, and blue. This is red, translucent, and blue.
Well,
It's not actually white.
it's red, gray, and blue, I guess.
Right. But I mean because
Yeah.
this is a decal. This is a sticker. It just I'm now 100% positive it was already on the jet when I got it. Okay. So we got to wrap this up. We've already gone a little bit longer than we intended to. Final thoughts about the Skystriker HasLab as a whole. How do we feel in the end? And I'll just go ahead and say, I'm happy with it. I think the value is actually incredible. There are some flaws in the execution, no doubt, but I cannot complain about spending $229 on everything that's on this table right here. It is not a perfect toy, but it's a great toy, and everything that came with it is fun. Emily talked a lot about storytelling as part of the marketing for this item, and I think they've really created, between the co-pilot, the parachutes, the support vehicles, the stand with the way it was designed, the blast effects, I think they created some really fun toy storytelling with this piece. And at the end of the day, I'm very, very happy with it. I wish I had ordered two, but even more than that, I hope they do the release we were talking about, just the Skystriker, available on its own.
Yeah, I'm super happy. It makes me hope that we get more O-ring news.
Yes.
Soon.
Yes.
And I don't mean this in a bad way, even though it's probably going to sound like it. It does also humble my expectations for the Hiss tank a little bit, though.
Well, I think that's a good thing.
So I'm still super excited for it. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like if there's little blemishes here or there, I'm not going to be like, oh, this is the worst thing ever, because there is the possibility that could happen. But overall, very happy.
Well, here's the thing: is as I said, having the sail barge and the Razor Crest, my expectations were here for this, and my expectations were here for the Hiss tank. Well, now this has, I'm not going to say lowered my expectations, but given me a wider, more realistic picture, because I've never gotten a Transformers HasLab. I've never gotten, well, my son's got the Galactus, and it's unbelievable. It's definitely more along the lines of Sail Barge and Razor Crest than Skystriker, but I've got a better picture of the potentials of HasLab. So when the Hiss tank does get here, if it doesn't quite meet these expectations, I'm not going to be as disappointed. I'll be like, okay, so it's more in line with this than with these. And
price point wise too, both of our GI Joes have been a little bit more conservative than some of those, like the Star Wars ones that were like, how much was the sail barge?
Sail barge was what, 500?
500.
And the Razor Crest was 350, maybe.
Yeah. So these are
350, something
a little bit
like
lower
that.
price point. I know the Unicron was like 450 or something like that, I think.
No idea, but probably.
Yeah. So I mean, it's for what you're getting, especially with all you're getting thrown in here.
Yeah.
I don't have any regrets about the value of this.
No, not in the least.
No, I said it's not perfect, but for what it's going to do, it's going to sit, on display on the stand, with some blast effects and, some cool decals on it. That's all it needs to do.
Yeah.
I'm not playing with it. I did as soon as I attached the fuel tank last night, started swishing it around just for old time's sake.
You got to zoom it around a little bit,
but yeah, it's going to sit there. It's going to be a display piece. And I think for that, it's going to be fine. I think that, maybe if I were going to be hanging it and you're going to seeing it from above, that might bother me a little bit more.
Right.
But it's not really a huge deal breaker for me.
Well, and that's another part of why that was kind of a letdown for me, is that is how I've got my other Skystrikers displayed. And that's the first thing you see is that hardware. But yeah, it's going to be on a high shelf, but I'm certainly going to try to tilt it to its best side. Christian, where are you with this whole thing?
Again, super happy. I feel like we more than got our money's worth. So, yep.
Well, there
I'm
you
excited
go.
to get some photos of it.
That is the exhaustive 3-man analysis of the HasLab Skystriker project. Thank you guys for sitting down and talking about it. Thank you, everybody, for listening or watching. If you're watching, you can find us at Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram. That is the best place to interact with us. Tag us in your Skystriker pictures. We'll repost those and boost the signal, as it were. Send us any messages, any thoughts about the show, anything you want to hear about. We're always open to it. We do live streams every other Monday, so keep an eye on that Instagram account for the sound off post where you can tell us what you want us to talk about, and we'll incorporate it into that Monday night's show. Our next live stream is February the 13th on the Needless Things YouTube channel. So check that out. You can visit that same Instagram page, look at our pinned stories to find out where you can buy your very own Audible Interlude Podcast t-shirt, available in many different colors and styles. Noel, why don't you tell us a little bit about The Finest?
The Finest is an international G.I. Joe costuming club, and if you have ever been interested in dressing up like your favorite Joe character, you can check out thefinestcc.com or the Finest Recruitment Center on Facebook. Join up and help us raise money for a fantastic cause called Canines for Warriors.
And Christian, I'm sure there's going to be some toy photography involved in your Skystriker purchase. Where can we find it?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram under Legion Cub.
As always, that was an awesome conversation about G.I. Joe. Thank you guys for sitting down. And as always, yo, Joe.
Cobra.
Smash that like button if you like Needless Things.